to clarify something you said earlier about what Kim Jong-un possibly gets out of this, as far as you know, has he gotten anything in return?
Well, I mean, from this particular move, I can't speak to that, MJ. I don't think we have seen any specific, quid pro quo with respect to this provision of troops. But we know that he and Mr. Putin have, again, been growing in their defense relationship. And we know Mr. Putin has been able to purchase North Korean artillery. He's been able to get North Korean ballistic missiles, which he has used against Ukraine. And in return, we have seen, at the very least, some technology sharing with North Korea. But what this particular development means going forward, we just don't know. We're going to have to watch that.
And do you know if this came about because Putin specifically first asked for help, or whether it's that Kim Jong-un offered the help first?
Don't know. Don't know what precipitated it, but I think it's important to remember that in the 3+ years that he's been fighting in and around Ukraine, Mr. Putin and his military has suffered 530,000 casualties. And as we're speaking today, he's losing casualties alone, not killed and wounded, 1,000 to 1,200 per day. Now, 530,000 is a lot. I mean, there were, in the American Civil War, there were like 620,000 killed. Just to put this into some perspective, this is 3 years fighting in Ukraine. 530 casualties is a lot. And he hasn't been fully transparent with the Russian people about this. And he hasn't been transparent at all with the Russian people about this particular move, about bringing in North Korean soldiers. So that he has to farm out the fighting to a foreign country, I think speaks volumes about how much his military is suffering and how uncertain he believes, how untenable he believes his situation is.
And I guess just, if you had to guess, how would the training, what would the training even look like given the language barrier? And once these North Korean soldiers are deployed, like what would the command structure
It's a great question. I wish we had an answer to it. You're not wrong to highlight the language barrier. I mean, these aren't even similar languages. They're going to have to overcome that. It's not like they have a long, productive history of working together as two militaries, even at all. So that's going to be a challenge. Command and control is going to be a challenge. And this is not a challenge that the Russians have even solved amongst themselves. They're still having command and control challenges, logistics and sustainment, getting things to the battlefield, keeping their troops in the field. They haven't solved that for their own soldiers. So they're going to have to figure that out here too. If in fact they deploy, we haven't seen that. So there are some pretty big challenges they're going to have to overcome.